I want to bring in Leroy Chiao. He's a former NASA astronaut who has flown on 4 space missions, most recently serving as commander of the International Space Station during Expedition 10, a 6.5-month flight. He now works as an entrepreneur and motivational speaker. Leroy, so good to have you with us. So just take us behind the scenes here, just in terms of what's happening right now at NASA. How are they beginning to troubleshoot what went wrong here?
So the issue was with engine number 3. The liquid hydrogen did not flow around the tubing inside of the engine bell to cool it down. That's to keep it from melting, of course, once the engine does light. And so flight controllers, they tried a lot of different things. None of them worked. And so at the end of the day, they had to scrub the launch. And now they've got to get in there and see what's wrong. Was it a valve that wouldn't open? What was the issue? And so the big question is this something that they can troubleshoot and repair on the launch pad? If so, it's just possible. Maybe they could try again Friday or Monday. But if they have to roll the vehicle back to the vertical assembly building, as we just heard, that's going to be at least a month and probably longer before another launch attempt.
I want to be optimistic here. Let's assume that the launch does indeed go ahead on Friday, or let's say Monday at the very latest. If it is successful, what sort of new data would we be expecting here?
If successful, this would be the first successful flight of this new rocket, the SLS, or Space Launch System. It would also validate the design or the operations of the Orion spacecraft. The spacecraft is going to spend over 40 days in space. It's going to do all the things that it's supposed to do, like deploy its solar arrays to generate electricity. The onboard systems are going to be exercised. We've got instrument and mannequins on board to measure the environment, and including the radiation that they're going to receive. So they're going to receive a whole lot of information and data to be processed to give confidence to flying humans on board. Perhaps the biggest test objective is to make sure the heat shield's going to work. Coming back from Earth orbit, you're coming in at a much lower speed, around 17,500 miles an hour. Coming back from the moon, you're going to be traveling at around 25,000 miles per hour. So the leading edges and the nose cap of the space shuttle used to get up to temperatures of around 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperatures on the heat shield of Orion are expected to approach 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So we want to make sure all that's going to work and the spacecraft's going to stay intact before we put a crew on board.
So how will all of that data that you just outlined there, how will all of that sort of help NASA with its eventual goal of Mars, traveling to Mars?
Yeah, so all of those data, they'll be analyzed, and if everything is positive, that will give us greater confidence in the abilities of the rocket and the spacecraft, and that'll take us that much farther towards the goal of landing humans on Mars. The moon makes sense as a first destination because it's been almost 50 years since the last time we put humans on the moon. So we have to basically relearn how to do that. How do you land on the surface of the moon? How do you build, we've never done it before, so how do you build a lunar habitat that's going to be robust and reliable? Rovers, spacesuits, you're going to train astronauts on the moon. You don't necessarily want your first astronauts on Mars to have never operated in that kind of an environment. And the reason you do it on the moon is because the moon is close by. It's only 3 or 4 days away. So if there's an issue, you can get your crew back. Mars, on the other hand, even at closest approach when the planets are aligned, is around 6 months each way. So you want to make sure everything's going to work before you send it off to Mars.
Just slightly closer, the moon being.
Right.
Leroy, thank you so much. Appreciate it.